Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. All right, welcome to ITS 454. So this is our basically our last lab, right? Today I have no new material to discuss. Instead, as I said, this will be just an open lab. If you have any questions about anything, we can talk about it. Otherwise, I want to remind you again, presentations are on Tuesday at 6 o'clock and on Thursday at 6 o'clock, and it'll be through this medium of Zoom, okay? So don't forget about that, please. Otherwise, I'm going to open it up to you guys, and you let me know if you have any questions.
So when it comes to my group, we believe we have completed the VPN project, but
Including the cryptography?
yes, but I guess we want to make sure that we actually completed it the way we should. I have a report put together. If you want, I can share my screen and show you what I'm talking about.
Sure, that's fine.
I believe that it's accurate. But...
Okay. Let me just, Nathan, can you hear me, Nathan Solich?
Yes, I can.
Oh, Nathan, did you guys get my the emails I sent you about hidden markup models?
Yeah, I believe I know that Mitch received some of them, and I know he's went through and looked through some of it, but okay. I don't think we have any questions at this time. But if anything, we're going over it this weekend. I know that we're meeting online, and then if anything, if we have any questions, we'll bring it.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, I think that was
certainly
should be very helpful for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, no, definitely, and as of now, I think Mitch and I had finished up with some of the RNN work we were looking at, and so it's like the perfect time to kind of explore the HMM and try and further
compare all three.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So let me know. I'm curious.
Absolutely.
I'm curious to see.
No, yeah, and we'll definitely we'll have some content for your deliverables, if anything, to review with you.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now, as far as the TLS, I was actually going to ask, this is more just open-ended because I think I know how to go about it.
Yeah. It's open-ended. It's not a lab anymore. It's a project, so do as much as you can.
So this is for anyone really, but I had an instance where when I was trying to initiate the handshake, I had it where it was telling me the certificate was expired. I don't know if anyone else encountered that. After going through and checking though, it looked like they didn't expire until like 2022 or something. So it was a weird thing that I was encountering, but it kept giving me like alert 45 when I would run the TLS server and try to connect the client to it. So I was asking openly to see if anyone else experienced that.
Well, to answer your question, ours initially when we ran the program, first it said hostname mismatch, and then it said something along the lines of certificate expired, and then it said passed. So all in the same run of the program. So it's kind of weird, but it worked.
Could it have something to do with the VM and the time clock in your VM?
See, I was curious of that too. I tried to update just all like CA certificates and as well as verify the time, and it looked like everything corresponded correctly to what it should be. I did go and I went back to the website or in Firefox. I believe it gives you the option to get certificates and download the PEM files. You can export them, etc. And through doing that, I had another alert that said I don't think it recognized the PEM, and that's probably because I replaced it. But initially, I was seeing like expired, so I was just wondering about that.
When you ran the code, which website did you have it grabbed? Did you just have it grab the like default website that they have in the code, or did you change it to something else?
Yeah, so in my for instance, I think the example they give in the book and in the I know they do the example.com, but I did the VPN lab server and I just set it to the IP of my server.
Yeah,
And,
that's what we did too.
okay.
We had it www.vpnlabserver.com, and then we hooked it up to one of the websites that Seed just comes with. We ended up using that the SQL injection site, but we had the like the host name be www.vpnlabserver.com. So, and we put in the client hosts file that same IP address and the host name.
Yeah, so in like your etc host on the client, you obviously adjusted that so it would pick up that that host name. So to follow up to that, in your TLS client program, the C program, did you change the host name like equal? I think it's example or Yahoo or something. Did you change that as well?
I did, yes.
Okay, I went ahead and did that as well. I just wanted to confirm like that, if anything, that was a good measure to take.
Yeah, like I mean that's part of why I wanted to show Dr. Kalitz our lab report, because I wanted to see if we did it right. And so I'm kind of glad that you asked the question you did.
My only question, to answer that, if you did it right or not, when you use Wireshark, do you see the packets?
We see that it says encrypted packets.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
But I mean, well, okay. I think it would be easier if I showed the lab report.
yeah, go ahead.
I can't share while you're sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, now what did I do? Oh, this is the, okay. So, probably should back, well, I don't know, but, yeah, sure. I'll just walk through the code. So one of the first things we did was we had to change the, that line 42. I'm going past it kind of quickly because I don't want to give everything away. I want people to be able to solve things themselves. But we did change that line, that VPN lab server there, line 83. We also went into the host file of the client, changed that as well. And like when running this, we had the tunnel set up first, of course. And this is the output that we had from running TLS client. Initially it said host name mismatch, and it said it passed, and then it said it expired, then it says it passed, and then it said SSL connection successful. XSS connection using AES.
Right, that's your symmetric algorithm there.
So, I imagine that's what you're supposed to get, right?
Yeah. You're using the tunnel, correct? You're using the tunnel?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So you built the tunnel first, and then you ran these codes from VM to VM?
Yeah.
Yes. This is the...
That's it, right? That's a VPN because the routing is correct, right? It goes from one end to another end through that tune 0. And then when it goes into those tune zeros, the packets, which are UDP packets, are also encrypted, right?
This is
Yeah.
this
And
is
so,
the
yeah, that's
the
that's
Wireshark.
you did it correctly, yeah.
This is the Wireshark we had from that, because the 192.168.53.1, that's tune 0 of the server, and then 192.168.53.5 is the tune of the client.
Great.
So we did it right then.
Yeah.
Yay,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yay.
Oh,
Why
Good.
that thing was giving me nightmares.
And that's what I mentioned to Kyle. I said it has to be this way because otherwise I don't know what.
No, that's exactly right. You remember, you're checking. You saw there, AES is being used for the symmetric encryption of the data, but the exchange with the certificate authority happens before, right? And that means you're using asymmetric encryption, right? And so everything is done correctly. Now, when it says that host mismatch, I wonder if it's because sometimes if you write something like www.vpnlabserver.com versus just vpnlabserver.com, those are two different things. So it could
So
be
yeah, the hash wouldn't match.
it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Work.
As for the
Working.
report, you want us to describe more about the code, right? Other than just these screenshots.
Sure.
Yeah, like we want us to walk through like you know, how the code works somewhat, like where does the authentication part of the
Well, that's what the lab said originally, that you should comment where those things are happening. So that's a good idea. Yes.
All right, that's the one thing that we have left to do then. Otherwise, from what it looks like, we have everything else done. So
yeah, you can see there it uses TLS. You know, you can see all those. You know, you can convince yourself, right, that it's using the tools.
Yes.
Awesome.
Good.
Yay. I can breathe now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you know, even the VPN lab on the ASA would have been, you know, simple enough. You go through the wizard, you put a VPN client on your laptop. You would have to set up Active Directory, and that would have been it also. So it's usually what I like to do there is I would ask you to enter a username and password on the Active Directory, and then use that from the remote worker that to do the authentication, which is what we talked about this week. But that would have been it, to be honest.
Fantastic.
Any other questions, guys? Anyone else?
That covers that for me.
Yeah, so it looks good. Make sure in your report, you know, in your presentation, you have that encrypted packet. You know, that just shows a little bit of evidence. You might even want to try to open it, right? And if you're sending something in there, you probably want to try to see if you can read it, just to prove to yourself that you know, if it's encrypted, you should not be able to read it.
Yeah, it'd actually be interesting to see, like, first do the tunnel with just normal telnet and like say just like log into the client or something and, you know, document what that says. And
That's
then,
right. It'll be clear text if you look at that.
and then redo the thing, except this time you add the TLS stuff and then, you know, see what it shows then. In theory, it should just show gibberish. You have no idea what it says.
I mean, that's true. That's encryption. Yes. Good job. See, it wasn't as hard as you guys thought.
Yeah, I just told him, I said, I think we're overthinking this.
Yeah, you were right, Susanna.
I mean, so for those of you that, you know, would like a bigger challenge, what you could do is you could take the code from the tunnel part and the code from the TLS and merge it into one. And at that point, you'd be building an application, you know, but it's not, but the way this is set up, it works perfectly well because instead of Telnet, you can just use the TLS over the tunnel. And technically speaking, that's still a VPN. Because it meets the requirements, although it's two separate things, it meets the requirements of routing, tunneling, and encrypted tunnel.
Yay.
Yeah, and it's exchanging the keys correctly. You know, what I was saying, remember asymmetric first, change the keys, then AES, which you showed me that a second ago.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Any other questions, guys?
Nope, that covers it.
All right. Well, I'm here, so just, you know, if you want to ask questions, just go ahead.
Now, I believe there are steps in the lab document that go over this, but you have to do some configuration within Wireshark to see all the encrypted packets, correct? Because I know before I was able to see the tunnel set up. And it looks like I have the right handshake established now, but I'm having
Okay.
trouble picking it up in Wireshark.
It's not showing you the encrypted packets.
I don't think so, but let me look over
Where are
here.
you running Wireshark?
So I have it. I opened it on both the client and the server. Should it be on the host machine or just the server? Or
Not in the host machine because
okay, because that's on the host only.
They're no longer encrypted.
Yeah, so you won't even be able to observe that.
Yeah, so what you're sending them from wherever you run TLS and wherever you run TLS server, programs are just dropping packets into like the routing table, right?
Okay.
And so you have to, and then remember that it doesn't know how to get, let's say, from client to host V. So then the routing rules tell it to use the tunnel. Does that make sense? And then it goes into the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that makes sense because I was seeing different kind of traffic showing up on Wireshark, but when I'd go into my Tune 0 interface, like it was just nothing. So
if you think about it, so you build a tunnel here. You're seeing, I think, a drawing here.
Okay.
On this same computer, you will run that TLS client, right? And TLS client is just like a like our like any spoofing program that we ran this semester. It's just dropping packets. The packets, because you've broken this connection, right? They can't find the final destination. So the tables is where we set up that if we send something over here, it has to go through the tunnel. So then it goes into the VPN tunnel here, but the packets that the program TLS drops are encrypted, right? And then they get encapsulated as UDP packets. So really, if you put it in promiscuous mode, the Wireshark, it's not capturing packets here. When you do that, you're not seeing the encrypted packets.
Yeah, no, that does seem to be the case.
That it's not showing them.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's any like filters or anything messing with it, but.
Can you share your screen? Would you mind?
Yeah, one moment actually. As soon as I'm out of this Wireshark configuration, I'll
So you're running your Wireshark on VPN client or VPN server? Or
currently on server.
Okay, on server.
If it's ideal to do it on client, which I believe it would be on server.
It wouldn't matter. I mean, definitely, they're definitely going through this line, right? But they're going as UDP packets, but the payload of them. So remember, some of the headers are not encrypted. It's going to be really like the payload that's going to be encrypted, or TCP. They're TCP packets that then go through the tunnel. So in theory, you should be able to, I wonder, that's very strange that you can't see those packets, because even if you, let's say, broke the tunnel and ran the program, Wireshark should pick them up.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at a section in the guidelines. It says displaying TLS traffic in Wireshark. And I don't know if I followed all that properly, so I'm going to go through with that and see if that resolves it. If not,
where is that? Where is that?
That's starting at number 3.1 in guidelines. It's actually it's past task 6, which is the very last one of all the second part of this. Yeah, you're getting close to it. Yeah, it's right after that diagram, right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this.
Yeah. So this might be some of the issue I have, but I'm gonna go through and make sure all this is configured correctly.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to see those packets. I mean, yeah, once you do this, I guess. What it says here is the approach shown above only gets, so let's see, displaying TLS traffic. It knows 443 is the default port number for HTTPS, but our VPN server listens to a different and non-standard port. So we need to let Wireshark know that, otherwise Wireshark will not label our traffic as SSL TLS.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we can do. You go to Edit menu, Wireshark Preferences. Do that. Add your SSL server port.
Yeah, see that's where I don't think I had that added, because since it's on 4433, I don't think I had that port added, and I don't know if it was not picking it up because of that.
Yeah, it says, for example, we can change the content of the entry to 443, 443. Where 4 is the port used for SSL. Your port for SSL server, I believe, is 555.
Okay.
Because remember,
yeah, that's in the code,
when
correct?
you start, yeah, when you start up the code, so actually that's for the tunnel. For this one, look at the.
I'm gonna look in this TLS client.
Yeah.
Because I know, yeah, it was, I believe it in the VPN's portion of this, it was a different port. I think it might have been 5555, because it's defined like right at the start of it, I believe.
Now you are doing the first part, correct, Nathan? You did the whole build. You know what was the part of the homework last week?
Yes, creating the tunnel and establishing all that.
Yeah, that's on. And if you don't turn that on, you can't reach V, correct?
That is true.
Okay, all right. So then,
yeah. So I see in the TLS client it is, so in your main you initialize port, or well, it's in port 4433. So instead of the 555, I'll make sure to keep it as 4433.
Okay. Yeah, because the packet comes out of the UDP tunnel of the first task, goes into the routing tables, and now it'll find the TLS program. It needs to go into the TLS program. Did you type something in client when you use client? What message are you sending? Do you know if just this? Are you writing something in particular here? Like, do you type something on the terminal maybe?
You're saying for the client when you're initiating the handshake?
After, what are you sending actually? So when you run this main program,
that's a good question. Let me.
You want to send, maybe your name. I would just here. You write something, right? SSL, and you write this send buff. Where send buff is this. Oh, it's just making the connection. It's just this. Okay.
Yeah, because when I was here, let me finish up what I was doing. I could share my screen after.
Okay. Yeah, what they did, so what they did is they ran, instead of Yahoo, they used one of the built-in websites of the Seed Labs. And that's what it is. So that's fine. Actually, that's fine, because that tells you they typed something here and they were able to reach it. It displayed a website, I think. It retrieves the page, right? That's what it does. And then they're printing it.
Yeah, so here, let me, if you want to disable that, I could actually share my screen. No, you're fine. Here, let's see. There we go.
Yeah, I would just ask them, how do I pay for them?
All right. On my screen here, let me move this out of the way. So this would be my server machine where I have In this window, this is where I run VPN server and establish the tunnel. Here, I just set up the tune 0 and made sure that was up. Now down here, I ran the TLS server, and this is also the server, and it actually does connect and get the VPN lab server. Now to go on to my client, I have same deal where I'm opening up the VPN client, and it's establishing the tunnel. I set up the tune 0 for client, and then down here is where I run TLS client with same thing. They use the VPN lab server, and it does the same kind of deal where it does the host name mismatch expired, and then it actually goes through and is successful. And it shows the doc type, the hello world.
Yeah, it downloaded that website.
And it shows that everything was established here. But now this is capturing from tune 0, and I was doing that. I don't know if there's anything to
so you're capturing from tune 0? Why not capture from?
Would it be the interface that you have the NAT on?
Yeah, why not? I mean, the packets do go through there.
Let me try that instead.
Remember, through the, I mean, it physically will go through there.
And that, I believe, should be ENS 38. That's correct. Okay.
This is the server?
This is the server, correct. So do you think I should reestablish all that real quick while I'm capturing?
Reestablish what? Oh, so
the tunneling in the traffic, for instance.
Yeah, so you can
at least I can do the
client part.
Yeah. Let me rerun the TOS server and see what shows up for it. So let's run that, and then same deal, and we'll go back into the server.
I think the packet will appear. It's just
here.
The issue was that it's not indicating that it was encrypted, but it should be there. All that TLS. TLS.
TCP on here, TLS v1.2.
Those are the ones that should have the crypto part.
And is there a way? I don't think I'm seeing that on here.
Seeing what?
If there's any here, let's see.
Because the ones that say TLS, right? Those are the encrypted packets.
So that okay. So the TCP is just. So the TCP is the let's see. So this one, the very first one, comes from the client, which makes sense.
Yeah, TCP is, you first establish a TCP connection, then on top of that you establish a TLS connection.
Yeah, and so that's what this is. This is the sign act, and then it does the client hello right after, and then the server sends it back, and then the key exchange takes place. Okay. Now, and that makes sense why the ARP is trying to route all of this and see what's going on there. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I'm able, this is very compressed and smushed right here anyway. But it looks like, yeah, that's a little more what I was looking for, some more output like that, and I wasn't able to catch it. I guess monitoring on the tune 0 wasn't as effective for that, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, that seems to clear that up. I'll make sure that that's a little bit more presentable for when I put in the report, though.
Sure.
Then you know how smushed this is. Thank you.
No problem.